Good evening. Late start tonight, but I'm going to go through two hands. Both of these hands, I am technically in early position. I cbet turn and get raised. And we see the showdown. In both of these hands, I actually have pocket queens. So, hand number one is 10 NL game. I open raise to three big blinds, and I get called by the button and then both of the blinds. So I think the big blind's going to be calling pretty widely. You already have two callers, and it only costs him two to call. Villain 18's playing right now pretty loose, but he is. I only have six hands on him, so I'm gonna look at something like this. Maybe let's take out three bets. Yeah, let's add in all these suited aces probably. Small blind and big blind. Small blind is going to be tighter, so small blind may have something like this, and then the big blind could have something like maybe like a super wide range. I mean, we're going to say something. Yeah, it could be any two cards. Probably something like this. I'm going to take out queens plus ace king because I think he's going to raise it. So, we're gonna go something very wide with him. The other ones we're gonna say fairly tight, and we see a flop of Jack 10-4. Both of the blinds check to me, and it's to me. So when I look at a board like this, I know that this board is going to hit these callers. It might hit one, might hit two, may hit all three of them. If I bet here, I think I'm going to get called by any of the open-ended straight draws. I think I'm going to get called by any of the heart draws. I think I'm going to get called by jacks, by tens, by gut shots. I think there's a lot of hands that are gonna call me. So, but with my queens, I do block, you know, some of the king queen hands, the ace queen hands, queen nine hands, and so forth. I think if I bet and get called, I'm gonna look for jacks, for tens, hearts. Jack 10 is possibility, but I'm not gonna worry so much about it. So I bet half pot into three opponents, and I get two fold. So both of these opponents fold. When we look at that, we can see, just the breakdown of hands that I think they would call. And this is pretty generous here. And you see that I think 65.6 they fold. They must not have anything. Let's take him out. But this big blind ends up calling for half pot, and he is the one that's going to be super wide. So out of six hands, also with this player, I have it's 17 VPI, 17 pre-flop raise. We are looking at probably top pair, middle pair, weak pair, flush draw, open and straight draw, gut shots. Probably not a two card backdoor flush draw, at least not all of them. I think we're going to look at flush draw in the pair, flush draw on overcards, flush draw open ended straight draws, flush draw gut shots. I don't think we have any of these gut shots and overcards. Maybe ace queen, we'll call those. So 59% on that calling range. We are ahead 74 with 74%. Turns at jack of diamonds. Now we look at, I think it's less likely that he has top pair, with the jacks, and he checks to me. So now the question is, what do we do? So looking at his breakdown, his range of hands at this point in the hand, we can see we've got middle pair, weak pair, ace high, no mate hand. We have 12% are flush draws, 8% open and straight draws, 16% are gut shots. I think if we bet here, we're going to probably get called by a lot of these draws. I mean, a thinking opponent is going to look at that and say, okay, the jack doesn't hit our range either, right? Unless we have the jack. But, now there's only two jacks left in the deck. How likely is it that we actually have the jack? What about three of a kind? Yeah, it's possible he's got 15% chance, but if we bet, I do think tens are going to be calling us now. And what about weak pairs? Are weak pairs going to call? I don't know about that. So I think 72% chance he's going to call us. So I do think we can bet. I bet half pot, and now he raises. And I think this is kind of interesting because it's, what is he going to be raising with? I think would he raise with a full house? Would he raise with quads? I don't think so. Would he raise with the three of a kind with the jacks? Maybe, if he's afraid of the hearts. What else would he raise with? He could be aggressive and recognize that the jack probably doesn't hit me, so he raises with the middle pair. That's a possibility. Could he raise with the flush draw? Probably not all of them. Probably not all of them. I think he would be raising with, with his flush draws. We're going to apply to all. I think we're going to be like maybe ace queen, ace jack. Can't have ace 10. King jack. King queen. Probably queen jack. Queen 9 of hearts. Queen 9 of hearts. We're gonna go 9 8 of hearts because that's the flush draw with the straight draw. Probably we're gonna have all of these jacks that he's gonna be raising with. 9 7. That's probably it. So we'll do that for this flush draw. What about that open and straight draw? I think the open and the straight draw is only going to do that if they have part of the flush, and I think we've covered it. Same thing. I don't think gut shots are going to be making that play. So if we do three of a kind and the flush draw, that's 15.6% of the hands that he's raising. We're at 8% equity. We need 22. I think this should probably be a fold, even though we have over pairs. We just don't know a whole lot about this player, so I think the fold's going to be okay. I called, and then the 9 came. So I'm going to continue with this, and what does he do? He checks to me, and at that point, I think I just check. So that right there kind of tells me that he probably doesn't have three of a kind, and probably is looking at one of these, flush draws maybe with the pair. I don't think, if I bet, I don't think I'm getting called by worse, so I should just check behind, which I did, and he shows king 4, which is kind of interesting. I don't have king 4 at all in his range, but that's kind of interesting because as we go back to this hand, we talk about, with that jack hitting, I mean, it makes it harder for me to have that jack, so now he's making a play on me, hoping that I fold. And is this flush draw, or all these flush draws, are these legitimate? Could there be more flush draws? Yeah, probably. So now once you come to the river, you can see that, how many hands are actually out there. 75% of hands that we beat. So I didn't have it in his range, but we can make a note here that says called flop cbet with bottom pair, no draw, check raised, turn cbet with bottom pair on paired board. Just so we know, if we run into him again, we know he's capable of making these types of plays. All right, let me pause and get hand number 2. All right, hand number 2 is also pocket queens. As I said, I open raise and I get only the button calls. Now, I have a lot of hands on this player, 2,000 hands. He's playing 18-7, 3% 3-bet, so he is pretty tight. On the button, he calls 2 bets 22% of the time. His 3 bets versus early position play is 5%. So I think if I have 2,000 hands on him and he tracks it, he also has that many hands on me. So I do think he's playing something maybe like that. Ace queen suited offsuit maybe. Jacks plus. Ace queen is 4.7%. Whether we include the ace queen offsuit or the ace jack suited, that's debatable. I do think Ace Jack suited is a little bit better because of the suitedness, but we'll leave the Ace Queen offsuit. That's 25%. I don't think he's just calling with these hands, so that's at 20%. Might be something more like that. Maybe 6-4. That's probably good for his hand. So I have queens, and you can see that I'm, 76%. Flop comes 5 high, 5 hearts, 3 hearts, 2 diamonds. I bet half pot, which I think is okay. Probably, his fold cbet in positions 55%. We could probably go a little bit higher. The board's dry. We have a lot of unpaired hands in our hand, in our range. So I think probably 2/3 to get him to call with such a good hand would be a little bit better than half pot. He calls. So what is he going to call with? On this board, I think we are calling top pair. I think any pair he's going to be calling on this board. And actually, I think, if we bet, he may be raising like a top pair hand. Let's see if we have any stats on here on his raises. Raise cbet 24%. So on this board, I kind of think we're gonna get some of these over cards to raise. So definitely 6, 7, 8s, and 9s, maybe the 9s. So 6, 7s, and 8s. We'll leave that. Top pair hands probably raise. Top pair hands probably raise. Pocket pair below at the 4 probably might just call. Middle pair ace 3 might just call. A weak pair ace 2 might just call. Flush draw, open ended, straight draw, gut shots. 2 card, we're gonna include 2 card backdoor flush draws. Flush draw, pairs. Flush draw, we have all of those covered. Open ended, straight draws and pairs. Gut shots and pairs, we'll have those. Gut shots and overcards. Yeah, I think we'll include all those. So 57.4%. We're at 61. We're ahead. So let's see the turn. Turn's a 2 of spades. I think that's pretty dry. It doesn't really help his, or I don't think it really helps my range either. So, I bet here again. Now I bet half pot, and I think this is good. Would be a good spot. If I did 2/3 pot and he calls, I think we could probably check the turn and plan a check call. Let's see what his float is on the turn. So his float's 100%, 2 out of 2. So I do think if we check and he bets, we can easily call because he's showing that he's calling and he's willing to make a bet if the pre-flop aggressor, takes the lead. That might be a little bit better because if by betting again, he might give up on his 3. He might give up on his 5s. He might say, you know what? I just think maybe I have overpair, or he gives up on his some of his weak flush draws or overpairs and gut shots and just says heck with it, I'm done. But if we check, he's going to bet those. So I think check and calling would be appropriate. Let's see what he does. He raises me, not just small. He raises big. So and he raises it all in. So he's got 41.8 big blinds. What is he going to do that with? I don't really think he's going to do that with these premiums, with full house or the straights. 3 of a kind could definitely do it. Although I kind of, I think he might just call and wait for the river. Overpair is definitely going to be doing it. Some of these top pair hands, I think, are going to do it. Pocket pair below top pair, definitely the 4s. Probably not middle pair, maybe. The ace 3 with a gut shot. We can include that in there. Flush draw. Let's take those out. Is he going to do it with all the flush draws? maybe, maybe open-ended straight draws, 5-4-5. I think I have those already covered. Gut shots, I don't think so. Overcards, no. So the question is, how many of these flush draws is he going to do this with? If he does it with all of them, we're at 78.7%. If he's a little bit more selective, so 6-4 is a straight, definitely we'll include that. 6-7, maybe he doesn't do all of those. But actually, no. I think he might do it with all the flush draws. So, we need 35% equity. We're getting it. We're at 78% in the hand. I think we can call, and then the 2 comes out. I think we might have gotten bailed out with the 2, but I think he had so many other hands, because I don't think 3 of a kind is going to shove like that. I don't think straight's going to shove like that. I don't think full house is going to shove like that. I think this, maybe the 3 of a kind, maybe the ace 2, because he doesn't want to see the heart. But I think most people just check, or just call and then wait for the river. So he shows 8s. I have that over pair. I actually think he was going to raise with 8s. So I had it out, but the overpair still matches. So we kind of go back to the flop and say, okay, based on his raises, maybe he's not going to raise the overpair at this point. Maybe he's going to wait to see what the turn is and then make that play. So, all right, we didn't quite get this one. We had the right idea. I do think, based on all of his hand range, we were correct in calling. We needed 35%. I do think we have a lot of equity here because he's a short stack. Even if he doesn't do the flush draw or the open-ended straight draw, we're looking at 81%. Basically, the only time he's going to be doing this is if he has, if he does this with over pairs and like all of those premium overpair plus, we're still getting 43% equity. So, I think that's a call on the turn. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Look tomorrow for a couple more hands.